Monsieur le Président.
Mr. President, heads of state and government, the Secretary General of the United Nations, ladies and gentlemen, heads of delegation. Mr. President, I would like to congratulate you on your election as President of the current session of the United Nations General Assembly. I do believe that you will be served by your rich experience in successfully steering our proceedings. You can count on the full cooperation of my delegation. My congratulations also go to Ambassador Peter Thompson, your predecessor and the architect of the 2030 Sustainable Development Agenda, on his commendable record. And lastly, I would like once again to congratulate Mr. Antonio Guterres on his unanimous election as Secretary General of our organization. Secretary General, you can rest assured of Cameroon's constant support in the performance of your lofty and delicate functions. Ladies and gentlemen, the current session is being held within a global context which is marked by multiple hotbeds of tension around the world, where terrorism continues to affect thousands of people, where human activity is causing climate disruptions, and where poverty is far from declining. However, it is also taking place in parallel with laudable efforts towards implementing the Sustainable Development Agenda, which is designed to ensure humanity's fulfillment so that no one is left behind. Hence, the full relevance of the general debate under the theme, and I quote, "Focusing on people, striving for peace and a decent life for all on a sustainable planet." Our debates, and especially our conclusions, will constitute a litmus test of our commitment to the ideal of the peoples of the United Nations, who, in the preamble to the Charter, state their resolve to save succeeding generations from the scourge of war and to promote social progress and better standards of life for all people. Mr. President, for Cameroon, as well as for most of our states, peace is the sine qua non for the survival of humankind and for sustainable development. Such peace remains dangerously threatened, notably from terrorism, conflicts, poverty, and climate disruptions. Today, I would say that we are all beggars for peace, and such persistent threats are of the utmost concern to all of us. Mr. President, today, no continent, no country is spared from the scourge of terrorism, the atrocities of which, unfortunately, have become part and parcel of our daily lives. Let me mention a few examples. August 2017, attacks in Barcelona and Ouagadougou. July 2016, bombing of Baghdad, 292 dead. October 2015, the crash of a Russian Airbus in the Sinai, 224 dead. March 2015, attack on mosques in Sana'a, 142 dead. November 2015, attacks in Paris and Saint-Denis, 130 dead. Maiduguri, Kolofata, Fotokol conjure up nothing but nameless, faceless bodies. The number of victims of the Boko Haram terrorist sect in the Lake Chad Basin is estimated at 2,000. Cameroon and other neighboring countries are confronted with this sect, which is constantly changing its methods and tactics. We appreciate the support from our partners in this struggle against barbarism. The fight against this jihadist sect, Boko Haram, requires more widespread mobilization if we really want to stamp out its threat. It is killing our peoples, our communities, our independence, and our democracy. It spells death for peace. In this regard, we look forward to the arrival in the Lake Chad region of the high-level mission that the Security Council mandated for the Secretary General to visit us under Resolution 2349. Mr. President, we condemn continuing conflicts in Asia, in Africa, in Latin America, and in the Middle East, which are wreaking pain and hardship. So many dead, so many refugees and displaced persons, so many children roaming about without a roof over their heads and facing an uncertain or even shattered future. Cameroon, which has hosted and continues to host thousands of refugees from the Central African Republic and from Nigeria, understands how much they feel hurt, victimized, and threatened in their very existence. Therefore, let us mobilize and through our policies, behaviors, and actions, let us refocus on people. Ladies and gentlemen, peace is under threat not only from terrorism and conflicts, but also from persisting poverty. The Security Council has most appropriately reiterated that poverty is a serious threat. How then can one understand that we have difficulty tackling it accordingly? The numerous declarations and resolutions, the various United Nations development decades, as well as the plans of action and other agendas adopted by the United Nations, are not fully effective. The result is clear. Poverty persists, and the gap between rich and poor countries is ever widening. This situation is exacerbated by the decline in commodity prices. Mr. President, let us all mobilize in a powerful surge of solidarity to roll back poverty. Let us match our actions with our words. In so doing, we will be providing conditions for a decent life to our people. Let us then focus on people. Mr. President, we must, for present and future generations, save our planet. We therefore welcome the Paris Climate Agreement, which Cameroon, I'll recall, was among the first countries to sign and to ratify. We are pleased that steps are being taken to implement it effectively. I would like to take this opportunity to strongly reiterate the legitimate and the unanimous wish of developing countries. As we all know, these countries pollute less and should thus receive from rich countries, which pollute more, multifarious wherewithal to effectively promote the goals of the Paris Agreement at their level. For Africa, there are two major challenges. Firstly, ongoing forest degradation in Central Africa. Let us save the Congo Basin, which is the Earth's second lung. And secondly, the desertification affecting Lake Chad, which is disappearing. This vast body of water, which is essential for the survival of communities and biodiversity, has already lost 90% of its initial surface. Let us save Lake Chad. In so doing, we will be contributing to preserving the planet for the greater good of humankind. Mr. President, the quest for peace concerns all of us. All countries must pool their forces to achieve peace. Therefore, is it not yet time for the voice of poor countries, especially those of Africa, to be heard? It is not time, or rather high time, that Africa's message to the world were better taken into account. Is it not high time that we structured our organization to give more weight to Africa's voice within a revitalized General Assembly? A Security Council that is more receptive and more equitable to us. A world characterized by greater solidarity is the prerequisite for peace on earth. Mr. President, let me now conclude. Peace is our most precious asset. Without peace, we cannot take any sustainable and effective initiative in the interest of our youth and of our peoples. The theme of this debate aptly reminds us of the commitment of the founding fathers of the United Nations, namely to save succeeding generations from the scourge of war and to guarantee a decent life for all, free from want, through cooperation. This debate urges us to renew our faith in the ideals and in the principles of the United Nations. Let us together take up the great challenge of world peace and of development. Once again, Cameroon, as it did from this very rostrum on the 10th of September 2000, urges the world to rally together in one great coalition for humanity, to be placed back at the center of our policies. For its sake, let us secure peace and a decent life on a sustainable planet. Thank you, Mr. President.